Welcome, one and all, to another episode of the Ruffled Feathered Sports Talk. I, of course, am Justin Ross Kelly, Ruffled Feathered Sports, joined by my friend and colleague, BJ with the Griddle. How you doing tonight, BJ?
I'm doing good, doing good. Just got off work, ready to talk about some foosball.
Hell yeah, baby. We're going to start off with my boys, the Ravens, hosting the 5-1 Lions. And I'll tell you what, they may have been 5-1, but they ended up 5-2. They absolutely got dismantled. And I think in my opinion, it started out because the Ravens came out early while the Lions kind of took a little while to find their footing. And by that time, it was pretty much over. One aspect of this game, of course, is the fact that the Lions defense hadn't given up 100 yards rushing in a game all year. The Ravens did that in the first half. Set the tone early. 3 straight drives, the Ravens score a touchdown. 3 straight drives, the Lions go 3-and-out. And from that point on, it was always a catch-up game for the Lions. And I think that was a huge part of what they could and couldn't do.
Catch up.
Yep, they didn't.
Catch
They
up.
had to catch up. They couldn't cut the mustard.
No, well, I wouldn't say they caught up with anything.
Yeah.
It looked like your kid just got caught with their hand in the cookie jar and they got their ass whooped. That's what happened. 38-6. Ain't no part of that catching up at all. They couldn't even get started. The Ravens just looked dominant. Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews, Zay Flowers, their defense, stellar defense. Roquan Smith leading them back there. Yeah, there wasn't even no chance in hell. They had Ice Cube's chance in Jamaica to beat the Ravens, and I was not expecting that. I thought it was going to be a lot closer, but obviously I was wrong. So I did pick the
What?
Ravens to win. I just thought it would be closer.
You weren't the only one, right? I think when they were doing the gift picks before the game, all across the board, they all said Lions. All across the board said that the
Mm.
Lions were going to go into Baltimore. And we're going to absolutely dominate this game. And like I said, the difference for me, 100%, was the Ravens came out hot. They scored 3 straight drives. Not only did they do that, they forced the Lions to go 3-and-out. They couldn't get anything going. They couldn't get any kind of traction, nothing of that nature. The Ravens dominated on both aspects of the football. And I think Lamar Jackson, we hear it all the time. Oh, well, he's not worth the money. He's not doing this. He earned his money without a doubt, right then and there. Just his ability with his legs, with his arm, 357 yards passing, 3 touchdown passes, no interceptions, only 6 incompletions for the entire game. And just his ability to feel the pocket presence, roll around, and make plays. It was the exact opposite for the Lions. They just couldn't get anything going. Jared Goff. It's just that simple.
Definitely upsetting if I'm a Lions fan. But I mean, you can't count them out for the rest of the season. People have off nights.
Yeah, I
That's
think
a
the
proven round
I
too.
think the Lions are going to be fine. I think the Lions are going to be fine. I think part of it is I just strongly believe that the AFC was just a little bit more competitive than the NFC this year. Even though some teams that shouldn't or haven't been competitive have been stepping up lately, I just feel that the Lions are going to be fine. They're in my opinion still the best team in that division, and they just
No.
got to regroup. And you need tests like this. You can have a season where you just dominate everybody and go into the playoffs. A lot of times, what happens is the team that has gone through some shit and has come out the other side is normally the battle hardened team that's ready for make a playoff run. And I don't count out the Lions being a team that can honestly still, if they can regroup from this, make a playoff run. I strongly believe they can still do it.
Oh yeah, I definitely think we will be seeing them in the playoffs. I
Yeah.
know
Plus,
the
they're
season doesn't get any easier with injuries and schedule and
right.
but I mean,
David Montgomery definitely didn't help. Losing him definitely didn't help. He's been a big part of that offense. Uh,
Jamar Gibbs stepped up though.
he
They
did
might have
good.
lost, but Jamar Gibbs gave a good showing on Sunday. I definitely,
He did have
a
he had
little
the only
upset,
touchdown. He had the only touchdown. 11
a little
carries,
upset.
68 yards, and he still caught 9 balls. So he definitely stepped up, and it's good. I feel like for him because maybe they'll start consistently getting him the ball. But even though Dave Montgomery though has been a big part of this offense, so I'm sure certain play calls that they would like to do they didn't do. Different style of runner for sure. All right,
Yeah.
so shifting gears here, Lions, Eagles. Sorry, whoa, Dolphins, Eagles. Um, People thought that this one was going to be a great game. Like it was going to be one hell of a time, and it was. Now a little added fuel to the fire. Talking about Julio Jones signed the 1 year deal to play for the Eagles. And what did he say? He said he's not here to just contribute. He's here to dominate. I don't know how
Well,
much dominating he can do at his age, but that's what he's here for. And he
well,
did
he
get
also
one.
said, "Whatever they need me to be, I'll be."
That's true.
So,
Um, we're talking about an obvious Hall of Famer. Right? No one's going to sit here and say that he's not. He is a Hall of Fame caliber player. Um, this game was competitive for a good long while. And then the Eagles kind of, at the end of the first half, got themselves a little bit of lead. And then at the end of the game, of course, 31-17 final score. In your opinion, Beefy, what was the difference maker between these two teams?
well, the difference maker between these two teams. Well, okay, the offensive line. Offensive line, I think, is what made the difference. The Dolphins are fast and quick, and that's good and all, but their offensive line's banged up. So the Philadelphia Eagles just have one of the best offensive lines in the league. So I think brawn beats speed, and I think it showed out on the field. You could take a Ferrari and go on a head-on collision with a truck, and figure out
Yeah.
which one's coming out.
No, I agree. I've said this. I think people are trying to blow this game out of proportion, in my opinion, talking about are the Dolphins frauds. I don't think the Dolphins are frauds, but I feel like their speed at the beginning of the season has allowed them to ignore the one true weakness of this team, and that is the offensive line. It was not good to begin with. And then when you have guys dropping like flies, now hitting IRs and missing significant time, um, that's 100% going to change it. You got injuries. Achan, he's been out for a few weeks. When he gets back, I feel like they get another little thing back. But the problem is a team that's completely built on speed. Um, when the weather gets colder, it's not going to affect them when they're at home in Miami a whole lot. But when the weather gets colder, you're going to have to play some tough, hard nosed football. And the question is, can the Dolphins do that? I don't know if they can. And when they face these teams that have a good pass rush, Tua is going to be the liability, in my personal opinion. You kind of saw it. He was a little rattled for a good portion of this game. The Eagles got after him. They did. They got after him. They completely bullied the Dolphins' offensive line.
Well, it's tough because that Baltimore Ravens defense is stacked, and with a great leader of Roquan Smith, shout out, go Georgia Bulldogs. Uh, I think him being mentored by Ray Lewis is definitely going to lead him in the right direction as the leader for this defense. Uh, he's an animal. I mean, there's just so many good things you could say about him, but the defense for Baltimore is stacked. Blessings, bless the Lord. I have them as my fantasy defense. I'd never have to worry about it. All I'm worried about is that bye week coming up. But
Yeah.
everything you said, I 100% agree. Didn't Chase Claypool get traded to the Miami? Or
He
got
did,
picked up?
and I think this is his first. This was his first game activated. I don't really think that he played a whole lot. I'll say this: Chase Claypool. I think he's a talented guy. I don't think he's as talented as he thinks he is. Um, the Bears are 2-1 since trading him away. They were 0-13 with him. They hadn't won a game with him on the roster. 0-13. They're 2-1, including a game without Justin Fields since trading him away. The Dolphins were 5-1. They activated him, and now they're 0-1. They lost this game to the Eagles. The Steelers were 2-6 with him. They're 11-4 since trading him. He's won 2 games in the last 2 years and 0 this year. Um, Chase Claypool. I'm not saying that it's a talent issue, but I do know he likes to run his mouth a little bit, and that can sometimes be a distraction to certain types of players who don't really like it. It's one of those, like you've been
Um,
here before. I'm not saying that it's actually a curse. I'm just saying it's an
Listen,
interesting set of
hear me out when I
statistics.
say this.
Go ahead.
Hear me out when I say this. Slow down, Bucko. But that's loser mentality.
There's a sample
Blame it on
size,
one
Beefy.
person.
There's a
No,
sample size.
no. No, you can take whatever statistics you want to. That's a loser's mentality for piss poor coaching and piss poor players that can't get their shit together and want to blame it, or the media wants to blame it that he's a jinx or uh, he's the problem child or however you want to spin it.
Professional
That's
athletes are
losers mentality.
superstitious. Professional athletes are superstitious. That is a
Oh god, I'm
well-known
superstitious
fact.
as well.
I'm
But
not superstitious. I'm a little
and
stitious.
and when Miami comes out and runs a train on whoever they play next week, I want to hear what you have to say about Chase Claypool.
Oh, I mean, I hope he put that. I heard rumors that they're going to try to convert him into a tight end. I think that may be a good fit for him. We're talking about the one other weakness on that team might be tight end. So good for him if he can find a home. I hope he finds a home. Like I said, he's a talented
Yeah,
player.
yeah. No,
Um,
like I said, when Miami goes out there and blows the asshole out of the New England Patriots, I want an apology for Mister Chase
okay.
Claypool.
I mean, we're gonna talk about that game for sure on Thursday, 100%, because they did just beat the Buffalo Bills. So you know,
No, no, they didn't beat the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills beat the Buffalo Bills.
well, it sounds like Josh Allen and Buffalo Bills beat themselves an awful lot these days. That seems to be what
They
I'm
do.
hearing.
They need a confidence boost.
They
And
didn't get it
just
this
the next,
week. They
yeah,
didn't get it this week.
right. But there's always another week. You can't count
That's
the
true.
Buffalo Bills aren't out of this playoff
Oh
talking.
no, without a doubt,
Just in there.
they're still a talented team.
And I'm not
Um,
biased because I have Josh Allen as my quarterback.
I mean,
Maybe a
a
little bit.
little bit, but a little
A little
biased.
bit.
Before we pivot
Uh,
away from the Eagles, let's
yeah,
talk about the trade they made. The strong get stronger. I'll tell you what, over the course of the last few years, the Eagles front office has handled themselves better than most of the teams in the NFL. They constantly get best players available. They constantly make good trades, and this was no exception. Right? They trade away Edmonds, and they trade away. The Eagles are sending the Titans a 2024 fifth and sixth rounder and Terrell Edmonds for Bayard, and I'll tell you what, I think it's definitely an upgrade. Not sure they needed it, but hey, can't
right.
hurt. Can't hurt. Right?
No, can't hurt.
Titans are selling. Right? So all the vultures are circling. And if you are the Eagles,
They're making sure if they get to the Super Bowl this year, they're not going to lose again.
yeah,
I love it. I love it.
I agree. Once you've been there, you get that taste, right? You get that taste in your mouth that you want to finish what you did. And they're trying to shore up every little crack in that armor. And I'll be honest, you look at this Eagles team, top to bottom, there's not much of a crack in the armor to begin with. But bringing in a guy as talented as
Right.
Byard, without a doubt, in my opinion, the best player on Tennessee's defense. You can't fault him for that, and to get him for such a, in my opinion, pretty sweet, cheap price.
The biggest question is, can they beat the Kansas City Chiefs and the refs? It's
Well,
almost getting too obvious at this point.
yeah, the Chiefs, without a doubt, I think they have turned themselves into quote unquote the NFL's golden boy, and that has definitely come with some perks. No one's going to sit here and try to tell me it hasn't. Um, but I don't know. I mean, yes, the question is, can any other team beat the Chiefs and the refs to have to face the Eagles in the Super Bowl? That's the real question, because I think there's a few teams in the AFC that can do it. The ref part of that seems to be the issue. It seems to be getting worse and worse every week, but officiating across the board seems to be getting worse and worse every week. So it could just be officiating sucks as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that is true. That is true.
All
But
right.
weird situation.
No, I agree. I agree. It's enough to where everybody's talking about it. They're gonna have to fucking fix it. Before we shift away from the Eagles, let's talk about it. I think we've talked about it before. Let's talk about it because it keeps getting brought up. The brotherly shove.
I
I know
love it.
me and you. I know me and you have very stark differences on this play.
I
Um,
love it.
I think my thing is I'm okay with it, but the NFL needs to shut their mouth about player safety. And the only reason I say that is because twice during that game, Jalen Hurts was pushed by the people behind him and was completely off the ground. Completely off the ground with grown men trying to just smash into him. My problem with the whole thing is the people pushing him from behind. That's it. Anything else, you would have put as many motherfuckers you want to on that line, I'm cool with. If you want to have those guys that are behind them dive forward on the sides of them, I'm cool with. For me, it's just only the pushing the guy from behind. And when situations happen where the guy gets lifted up off the ground and he's defenseless in that scenario, that's where I got the problem with it. It has nothing to do with the success rate. For me, it's if the NFL wants to be a bitch and moan about player safety here, player safety there. Oh, you can't let a defensive tackle land on the quarterback when he's sacking him. That's unnecessary rough. All this shit. Then they need to shut the fuck up if they're going to allow this kind of stuff to happen. That's my only comment about it. That's really it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying. Uh, but just it's so good. I love it. The brotherly
No, they're great
shove.
at it. They're great at it. Like I
And I
said, within
love
the
how
rules,
other
it's great
teams
play.
get so
Yeah.
angry and distraught about it. I know I saw on social media this guy named Frank the Tank from Barstool. Dude
Oh
was
yeah,
losing
Frank.
his absolute fucking mind because they couldn't stop it.
Right. And my
Uh,
thing is it's not that. That is a sorry reason to try to outlaw a play because you can't stop it. That's a stupid thing to say. It makes you sound like a bitch. Like I said, that's not my reason. My reason is someone's going to get hurt. It's not going to be Jalen Hurts. It's going to be one of these other teams to try to do it. And some skinny bitch at the quarterback's going to get snapped in half. That's what's going to do it. Oh, sorry about that. But moving on. Niners, Vikings. This was one hell of a game. Because I don't think anyone thought the Vikings had a shot in hell. Um, but the Niners are kind of reeling a little bit here, would you say?
yeah, let me just go ahead and say it. If they can do it without a Justin Jefferson, just imagine if they had Justin Jefferson. Or was this a matter of the case that the fact that they didn't have Justin Jefferson, he had to open up to different targets, and that just made it more of a problem for the 49ers to cover.
I
Because
mean, that
obviously, if Justin Jefferson's on the field and you're going to throw it to him.
I think the difference for me in this game was the Vikings were actually able to run the football. Not great. I mean, 8 carries for 39 by Madison, 10 carries for 31, but those are respectable numbers to keep another defense honest. I mean, we're talking about a very good defense
Yeah.
in San Francisco. I think
And we
they
can,
haven't been able to run the ball at all. They've sucked running the football the entire year. They're finally
well,
able
they
to
don't.
give. Well, it was a combination of they didn't run the football, and when they did, they couldn't. I mean, they finally are able to give Kirk Cousins, I guess, a little bit of time by doing that. Because when you don't run the football and you have a defense that has an amazing pass rush like San Francisco, they'll be able to pin their ears back and get right after Kirk Cousins. They could not do that in this game. Kirk was able to spread that ball out, get a little bit extra time on all his throws, and they outplayed him. They outplayed him plain and simple. He spread that ball around. Obviously, he still went to his two big targets in Addison for 7 receptions, Hawkinson for 11. But the real one that stepped up in this one was Powell and Osborne. They each had 4 and 5. That is a sign of spreading the ball out. They did a great job. And the question needs to be raised now: has the magic worn off on Brock Purdy? Was everybody right who said, "Oh, he's a system quarterback, this, that, and the third"? Because I'll tell you what, that last interception he threw, that was a bad one. That was a horrible decision on his part. You're shaking your head no. So you're
It
saying no?
fucking stinks in here, brother. This man is a young quarterback. He is a system quarterback. Uh, his coach knows what he's doing. You just got to give this man time. He still has hurt players on the offense. Debo Samuel's not in there. That's going to
Agreed.
obviously change it. He can't just. He has less targets, and so that just means they're going to cover up George Kittle, or if McCaffrey goes out for a pass, they're going to cover him. I mean, what else? He should be able to make something out of nothing with the rest of the talent that's on his offense. But I mean, you got to cut this man some slack.
I can
The man
say
has two
this.
bad games, and now it's oh god, fucking sucks. No, dude, he does not fucking
People are
suck.
saying it. People are trying to say the sky is falling. The sky is falling in San Francisco. I think as long as you have a player as dynamic as Christian McCaffrey, the sky is never falling. I think he's going to be the person that settles it all down. It's got to run through him. But to your point, Debo Samuel, not there. Did guys step up? Of course he did. Kittle with 5 catches, Ayuk with 5 catches, Juwan James with 5 catches, McCaffrey with 3. Um, they were able to spread the ball around. This is a good team. It's a well coached team. Will they be able to figure out? Yes. However, are they as good as the Eagles on the NFC side? I don't quite think so. I think that defense is top tier in that NFC.
Let me
The
ask you this.
offense, go ahead.
Let me ask you something. How many years has Brock Purdy played in the NFL?
This is his second year. And really, he only played half a season last year. So I'd say year and a half, right?
Yeah, so a young quarterback's not supposed to make mistakes.
Oh no, I'm not saying he's not supposed to
I
make
think the
mistakes.
man
I agree.
did great enough to go 5 or they were 5-1 until last
Yeah.
night.
Now they're 5-2. Correct. They're 5-2
Yeah,
now.
you have a green quarterback. You should feel lucky that you went to 5-2 so far, and you're
I'm with you. He
still
was
ahead of
5
your
0 last year.
division. This guy's not falling out. You can
No,
still win the rest of your
they can
games.
ride. They can ride the ship, but I'm going to kind of push back on your point a little bit and kind of use your point a little bit to make my point. Is he is a young quarterback, and he's had 2 subpar games. The question is he the kind of young quarterback that can get it together and use it to get back on track? Or is he the type of young quarterback where once things start going wrong, you fall in that perpetual quicksand and you end up drowning from it? Because young quarterbacks do that. However, I think
Huh.
the thing that's going to help him here is Kyle Shanahan is a phenomenal coach. Hopefully, it's the first one, not the second. Hopefully, he uses this and he comes back from it. All right. So next up, we're going to talk about the Giants. Because I tell you what, we got a nice little story brewing, and some people were kind of asking some questions about them. They won their second game in a row, um, and no Daniel Jones. They this is a team that has looked. I don't think anyone can deny it's looked better. Um, I apologize. They didn't win. They didn't win last week, but they almost won last week. They got robbed last week against the Bills. This is a team that has looked better with Tyrod Taylor than it has Daniel Jones. I don't think anyone can sit here and try to tell me that that isn't the case. It's the same shitty offensive line that everybody wanted to give him an excuse for. It's the same shitty receivers that can't catch. The problem is, I think Tyrod Taylor likes going to the tight end more than Daniel Jones. And I think that's a huge part because I think Darren Waller is their best pass catcher. And Tyrod Taylor has earned the starting
Well,
job.
hold on. Oh, wait, look, you don't know who their best pass catcher is because Daniel Jones hasn't completed enough passes to prove that. Don't take it away. No, 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 I'm not going to let you sit there and take away from a boy, Jalen Hyatt. You're not going to do that. He's a rookie. He will have ample opportunity to show that he is their number one wide receiver when he has enough catches.
I like Hyatt. I like Hyatt. But I'm talking about if you look at that roster and you got to go, Darren Waller was one of the top tight ends in football when it was in Vegas with the Raiders. So he should be getting until Hyatt proves he can be a consistent guy, until Robinson proves he can be a consistent guy. You got to go to your guy who has proven he can do it time and time again, which for the Giants has to be Darren Waller. Has to be. He's an absolute nightmare for defenses. And most of the time, he's going to be lined up against a safety or a linebacker, and he's going to win that battle 9 times out of 10. That's why he got 7 receptions for 98 yards a touchdown yesterday.
I don't agree what you're doing right now. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it at all. You're putting Tyrod Taylor on a pedestal. You got to stop putting the pussy on the pedestal, Justin.
No, he's not the pussy. That's Deshaun Watson in Cleveland. We're talking about Tyrod Taylor, who's done a phenomenal job filling in
I
for Daniel
realize that.
Jones.
No, you're putting Tyrod Taylor on the pedestal. Stop hyping this man up. He played one full game, and now, is this the savior for the Giants? It is not the
Two full
Giants.
games. Two
Okay, all
full
right.
games.
2 full games for the
Yes.
Giants, and you're trying to say, "Oh my God, he's the second
I'm going
coming
to
of
say this.
Jesus."
I'm just going to say this, okay? Tyrod Taylor, this game and last game, okay, has had more yards in his worst performance than Daniel Jones has had all year.
Let me tell you what the problem with Daniel Jones is. You want to know what the problem with Daniel Jones is? He holds on to the ball too damn long.
I agree. I agree.
He doesn't move around enough in the pocket.
You combine that with a shitty offensive line, and it's not a formula for success, which is why I think Tyrod Taylor should be the starter for this team for the rest of the season. If they want
and
to
they're not going to do that. They paid Daniel Jones too much money.
Right. Because you got to follow the money in the league. That's the problem with the league is you got to follow the money. Tyrod Taylor proven he should be doing it. They're going to pivot back to Daniel Jones, and they're going to wonder why they suck.
They should never pay him Taylor is not a franchise quarterback.
Daniel Jones has done nothing to prove he is a franchise quarterback. I'm just going to say it. They should have paid him. They should have paid him. He didn't do shit last year. Saquon Barkley put that entire fucking team on his back and took that team to the playoffs last year just to get absolutely blown out. They fucked up. They shouldn't have paid him, and now they're fucking stuck.
Lost You're right about that one.
Talking about this game,
get you riled up. I'm getting you riled up.
I'll tell you what. I wasn't the only one who's getting riled up. Jonathan Allen, right? Jonathan Allen, longtime Washington Commander, has been with that team for what 7 years. Um, he's fucking tired of it. He said it. He's tired of losing. And this is starting to be a growing theme that we're seeing around the league. And it seems to be mainly trench guys, right? I played offensive line. You played offensive line. You put your body on the line every play when you play in the trenches. You're always hitting. There's no not hitting. We're seeing a lot of frustration for these guys that know they're putting their body on the line for fucking nothing. They're not. The teams aren't winning.
And they have a right to that opinion. I mean, the dude said he's been there 7 years and it's the same shit, and he's tired of it. He's tired of losing, and
I
I
know.
completely agree with him. I
Yeah.
completely agree. And they've, I think if they had Kirk Cousins at quarterback, they might be able to do something.
Yeah, I mean they made that pivot a long time ago. They decided to go with RG3 instead of Kirk Cousins. RG3's knee completely let him down. Kirk Cousins has been, I think, underappreciated in Minnesota. They give him shit all the time, but I still think he's a good quarterback. And they need a culture change in Washington. It's a culture problem for me. It's a losing mentality. They have talent. That defense, if you really look at that defense, they got some of the best pass rushers in football. They can get after the quarterback. Either they're not schemed well, they don't perform well, and I think it's time that they got a new owner. Now it's time to get a whole new front office, GM, coaching staff, the whole thing. It needs to go. They need to modernize. Ron Rivera is not it. Not it.
Completely. All right. It's just
It's happening. Like we said, it was also Denver's offensive lineman, right? Garrett Bowles or Boyles, whatever his name is. He said the same thing. He's tired of it. He's tired of losing. Guys who've been in the league making all this money, people think when it comes to the NFL, everything's about money. And I'll tell you what, that might be the case for every corner, wide receiver, quarterback, all these skill position players. But when it comes to offensive linemen, there's certain things you're never going to get back. There's guys who have given up their knees, ankles, backs, arms, and they've given it all up just to try to win. And when it comes to these gritty ass positions, that's what they want to do. They want to win. And a lot of them are getting stuck in shitty organizations. I'm not saying the NFL needs to step in and do something, but in my opinion, if a team is constantly the punching bag of the league for decades, something has to be done. Something needs to change.
something needs to change. That is, preach. I don't even have anything to say. It's just there's nothing more to say about it. I think you've covered it completely. That there has to be a change in Washington, or you need to fire somebody. You need to let contracts run out. You need to rebuild this. I want to say facility, but that's not right. My mind is just out of it. Hello, did you hear me? Mic check. All right, they can hear me. They can hear you. Said give it a second. Give me a second. I need 1 minute.
Check, check, 1, 2. Can you hear me?
There he
There he
is.
is. Ah, yeah. All right. No, I completely agree. I think there's just certain organizations that suck, and they have sucked, even when they try. Even when you have all this hype around Cleveland Browns, there's just certain things that I think that need to happen.
What is this coming from? The Cleveland Browns suck? What was somebody going
Cleveland,
to tell me?
dude, if you didn't know, it's one of those if you know, you know kind of things. You know what? Let's talk about him right before we get on. Right before the end of the show. Let's bring up that little bitch, okay? Deshaun Watson, dude, you're getting paid more guaranteed money than anybody. You got to be on the field. You got to get it together. You can't tell me a hurt shoulders kept this guy out for fucking 3 weeks. He comes right back in. He goes right back out. First quarter. If I'm Cleveland, I'm furious, right? Because you not only, if I'm the NFL, I'm furious because Cleveland tried to fuck up the entire quarterback market, right? The only reason Lamar Jackson wanted all that money is because he looked over there in Cleveland and said, well, this asshole's getting it, and he's nowhere near as good as I am. Luckily for the Ravens, and I'll say this, luckily for the Ravens, the Eagles signed Jalen Hurts, which reset the market. That way they were able to sign Lamar Jackson. If the Eagles don't sign Jalen Hurts, that market stays fucked up. The Browns are a dumpster fire of an organization. They've always been a dumpster fire organization. They can't get anything fucking right. There's a reason they didn't even handle the acquisition of Deshaun Watson properly. They pissed off Baker Mayfield, and they were like, oh shit, well, we done pissed off Baker. He don't want to be here. We better give him all this money guaranteed to bring him in here. He hadn't played in over a year. And now he doesn't want to be on the field. And you can't tell me that an injury to your non-throwing shoulder is keeping him off this field that much. I'm sorry. I don't believe it. I think he's just a pussy. I'll say it. Deshaun Watson is just a pussy. He's tired.
And the Browns are still finding a way to win.
That's because they got the best defense in football. Number one defense. They're phenomenal defense. That defense and that running game is scary. Myles Garrett's phenomenal. Best pass rusher in all football.
I wish he played for the Baltimore Ravens.
Man, I'll tell you what. You know how I knew Myles Garrett was that dog? It's when he took Mason Rudolph's helmet off in that game in Pittsburgh and then tried to beat him to death with it. That's football, baby. When you take off another grown man's helmet and then try to beat him to death with it, that's football. And I'll tell you what, Cleveland, they got that defense, but until they figure out whether they're, $300 million self-masturbating quarterbacks coming back or not,
right? Yeah, and the fact Nick Chubb's out for the season, you're having to rely on Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt, which aren't bad running backs by any means, but
no, but they're not Nick Chubb.
And your damn quarterback's vagina hurts all the damn time and doesn't want to play any football, so you got to rely on a damn quarterback. I don't even remember his name.
Well, they've gone to PJ Walker's the one in the last few games. He's done pretty good. But
and doesn't help. Deshaun Watson just signed this contract.
Well, yeah,
how long was the contract for?
His contract was huge, dude. It was like a 5-year deal.
Oh my fuck!
Yeah, I think this is year 2.
This
2?
sucks, dude.
Yeah.
Sucks.
I mean, I'll tell you what. Browns won that game. I don't think they should have won that game. I think the Colts kind of got screwed with that illegal contact. I think that was kind of bullshit. But hey, it's a win in the column. We get to the end of the season, no one's going to care how they won that game. They're still within chomping distance of the AFC North. But they're not going to be able to do it without Deshaun Watson. They're not going to be able to do it without Deshaun Watson. They're 4-2.
They're able to do it with Deshaun Watson.
Well, they're 4-2. They're right there behind the Steelers and the Ravens. Somehow. And I'll tell you what, I don't know how the Steelers keep winning either. But hey, defense. I guess defense does win championships. That's what it comes down to. But
I mean, does it though? They gave up 450 yards against Gardner Minshew and the Indianapolis Colts.
That's true. You know what? I want to push back on that because everybody was talking about how they had a great defense. They have a great defense. They got the number 1 defense in football. And they were still talking about it after the game. And I'm like, dude, it was 39-38. How are we going to talk about how do they still have the number 1 defense in football? They fucking 38 points.
Because they forced 4 fumbles and an interception. That's how.
Yeah, I mean,
that's their fucking offense sucks.
That's a great takeaway defense that doesn't make them the best defense in my mind. It reminds me of the Bears when the Bears won the Super Bowl. They weren't the best defense, but they had more takeaways than anybody. They gave a lot of points, but they got a lot of takeaways too. So we'll see. But I don't think they can do it without Deshaun Watson. I don't think there's any shot in hell. They could probably piece together something with Kareem Hunt and Jerome Ford, try to recreate Nick Chubb, but they're not going to be able to do it with PJ Walker quarterback. Nothing against the kid, but there's tiers. And even a shitty Deshaun Watson is better than a good PJ Walker. But we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, if he has to go out maternity leave or something.
Let's talk about the Thursday night football game real quick.
Sure, no problem.
Before we hop off.
Before we wrap it up?
Yep, since I don't think we'll really have a show before Thursday.
We did. We only did Tuesday last week. We did an extended show.
Yeah, the Bucks and the Bills at Buffalo. Thoughts?
That was not. Wait, come on. This next Thursday.
Is that next? What the hell? Oh, my bad.
So good. Thursday night football was the glorious matchup of the
No, I'm talking about this upcoming Thursday.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
the
what
Bucks
that's what I
and
would ask you.
Bills.
That's what you meant. Okay, so you want to talk about the Bills
Yeah,
Bucks? Okay,
yeah. Why would we go back in time?
I'll tell you what. If I'm the Bills, I'm looking forward to this game because I don't think the Bucks are that good. I think they are a decent team, but this could be Buffalo's chance to get their shit together.
I mean,
They need a confidence boost. They're reeling right now. They need a confidence boost.
they just got injuries, just like every other team. Knox, I think he's got to have surgery on his wrist. So they got Dalton Kincaid in as starting tight end.
They drafted
Uh,
him though high. That you can't use that as an excuse if you're going to draft a guy that high. You draft him that high, you should be playing. So for me, it's okay. Well, this is what you drafted the kid for.
I just this week I would like to see the Buffalo Bills get something out quick on offense and not have to fight back from behind. I want them to score. I want them to maybe not a whole lot, but I want to see at least 28 points and not with the kicker.
That's fair. I'll push back with this and say, how many more games are we going to give Josh Allen before we start nitpicking? Because he
How long
hasn't
is his
played.
contract?
I think he's got one more year. I think he's got one
One
more
more
year.
year. That's my
So
answer.
you're gonna give him one more year? I mean,
Yeah. I always
he
give Josh Allen one more year.
he just seems to have the mistake at the worst time, and that's been a thing with him for a while. But no one wants to talk about it. He seems to make the mistake at the wrong time. Talented quarterback,
Well, when
and,
can you
and
make a
he's a good.
mistake at the right time, to be
Well, I
honest?
mean, if you make a mistake early enough in a game, most of the times you can come back from it. But it seems like these late games, he makes the mistake. He doesn't make a mistake. There's a mistakes and there's the mistake, and he seems to always make the mistake. It's a great football team. They're a great football
So
team.
are we completely ruling out the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
I'm not ruling them out only because of how Buffalo's played. I mean, Tampa Bay struggled against the Falcons, which are not a good football team, at home, mind you. They're not a good
Without
football team.
without Bijan Robinson.
Yeah, who started
Only
but didn't
played
see a
one
touch.
snap.
Yeah, he wasn't feeling good. I think he's just good friends of Deshaun Watson. Not quite sure what's going on there. Um, but yeah, they struggled against that team without their best player.
That was
So I don't
really
know.
suspicious though from what's the head coach's name? Arthur
That's the owner, Arthur Smith.
whoever or the head coach, I don't know who it is.
Sorry for the Falcons.
But yeah, but they didn't put it in the injury report.
So I heard his interview, which I'll be honest, I know enough about the kid to where I say I don't think he's lying because I know he's a very religious kid. Um, but he said that like as soon as the game started, his head really started to hurt for some reason, and because of that, they didn't want to chance it. So it wasn't a case where like, his head was hurting all week. He literally said it was hurting like as soon as he got out there. For some reason, as soon as the game started, his head started to hurt. So they decided to err on the side of caution. But who knows, man? I mean, who knows? But like I said, the only
Boy,
thing I know about the kid is he is religious. So who knows? I'm not saying that religious people don't lie.
boy,
I'm just saying
try and pull that shit in the 90s.
all I'm saying
Try and
is
pull that shit in the 80s.
he pissed off a lot of people who had him on their fantasy team this week.
Motherfucking Walter Payton played with the flu, throwing up all over the place, and still had a 200 or 100-yard rushing game. You're gonna give me that shit? Your head hurts.
That's what he
Man, go get
said.
a fucking bottle, pussy.
He said, babe, not tonight. I have a headache. One more thing that I want to talk about before we went away. We skipped over this. We already talked about one player getting traded away from the Tennessee Titans. Everybody's bringing up King Henry. He's being brought up a lot. And I think it's obvious based on the last trade they just made. The Titans are in a sell situation. They know it's time to rebuild. Do you think Derrick Henry's getting traded? And if
Yes,
you do, where do you think he's going?
the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh, really? You think he's going? You think he's going to the Ravens? Are
Boy,
you
that
just
was
fucking with
quick.
me? You think?
That
Or you
was-
think he is?
we've already had the discussion. Saquon Barkley and the Ravens. Why not Derrick Henry? I mean, you don't really have a solid running back right now in the Baltimore Ravens. They need a solid number one running back.
That's true.
Um,
That's true. He's talking about one of these damn things.
oh, okay.
Bye, Felicia.
Bye, Felicia.
But yeah,
But the Ravens could be a fit. Let's see who else could be a fit. The
Buffalo.
Browns. No,
Buffalo could
Buffalo's
be a
got a
fit.
pretty. No, James Cook. He's a solid
Cook
running
has
back.
been Cook has been good, but I think if you have the opportunity to upgrade to Derrick Henry, you're going to take it. One other team I'm going to throw out there, NFC team, the Cowboys. Because I'll be honest,
No, Tony
Tony
Pollard.
Pollard
No,
has taken a huge step back as a running back for this team.
no. Then I'll go ahead and
He's
throw
taken
the
a
Cardinals out there.
well, the Cardinals got nothing to play for. That's the only problem with that one. They got nothing to play for.
True.
They're trying to suck. Now I'll tell you what. If let's see, we got about what another week, a week before it happens.
1 week. Yeah, 1 week before trade deadline.
If do the Vikings play another game? Because I'll tell you what, that's a team that could use a running back if they win another game and are right
That
back
is the
into it.
biggest talk I heard was to the Vikings.
If they can win another game and get right back into the swing of things, I'll be honest.
Well,
That's
what
a
the hell
team
are you
that
going to
makes
do with
sense.
Matheson? Matheson and Akers.
He's been Dalvin Cook's backup for years. He'll easily slide right back into that role. We're not talking about benching fucking, Nick Chubb. We're talking about benching Matheson. He easily will slide right back into that spellback role.
Yeah, then
But
what was the point of
I'll be
trading for
honest.
Akers?
But they didn't give up any real equity for Akers.
Yeah,
We're
I
talking
don't
about
know.
a team. That team is about to get rid of Kirk Cousins. That team is about to replace him, roll with a young gun, whether it be if you buy into the Caleb Williams hype or not. Who knows? I'm just saying that if they can put themselves in a position in a
The Vikings
week,
aren't low enough to get Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams will be the first pick of the NFL draft.
they're 2-5,
No,
3-4.
I think so.
I'll tell you what, I don't think Caleb Williams is going to be the first pick of the draft. The way he's playing, I don't.
Fair.
That kid's
Fair.
going to start if he keeps playing the way he's playing. Like I said, I don't watch a whole lot of college football, but I know that kid's been sucking. I think they just lose to Utah or some shit. He has not played good. They're hearing these reports that he wants. I don't know if it's true or not, but you hear the reports he wants like ownership in the team that drafts him. Like, dude, no, you haven't done what you're supposed to do at the college level. You want fucking equity in an NFL team. That doesn't happen. Shut the fuck up. You're a player. Be a player.
Right.
He just seems like he's going to be a nightmare for whatever team just drafts him, and I don't think that a team at the top is going to waste a first overall pick on him unless he completely turns it around and starts lighting it up like he's
You know who'd
supposed to
be a
be.
good quarterback? Who would be a good quarterback for the Vikings?
Oh wait, are you gonna say
Michael
Stenson Bennett?
Michael Penix Jr.
Oh, Big Penix
Penix,
energy.
big Penix energy. I think he could be a solid quarterback option, or Bo Nix. Bo
I
Nix
agree.
being an
I
older
think
guy, he's
there's
been
some.
playing college football for years. He's got some experience, maybe not at the NFL level, but he knows how to learn.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I
One of
think they
those
have
two, I think,
options
would be solid.
for
Slide
Minnesota.
in, yeah.
I think Minnesota. This will be the last thing we do before we wrap it up here. I think if I'm looking at all the shitty teams, not shitty teams, but the subpar teams that are going to be drafting a quarterback in the top 10 or so, Minnesota is the one I would want to go to because they already have 3 really good options to catch the football. Jay Jettis, Addison, and Hawkinson. That is a young quarterback's dream to have. You know what I mean? Like he already goes in there. He doesn't worry about like,
By the way,
oh,
shout out to Jordan Addison. Really
stepped up. Stepped up.
stepped it up,
He did.
did the damn thing, got me my 30 points. I kicked his ass in fantasy football. Thank you, Jordan Addison. You're a doll. You're a saint.
Anytime a starter goes down, you need the next guy to step up. You imagine it being the game that Jordan Addison had. And I'll tell you what, he fucking came through. He stepped up to the plate and fucking cranked one out. 30 points fantasy wise, had a great game. And I
And
think
he worked
he's
his
going to
ass
get
off so
better.
hard he caught cramps
Yeah, dude, that's how you know you're working out there. Dude, I thought like he got
in the
absolutely
fall.
demolished and he was just
You know,
getting
it was
fucked up.
cold there. You know, it's cold in Minnesota.
Hell of a
Man's out
game.
here catching cramps.
Damn, I can't
Legend.
believe they won that game. I can't believe they won that
All
game,
right,
and I can't believe New England won their game.
let's try something different. Who's on, I don't want to say shit list. Yeah, fuck it. Who's on your shit list? One player from the entire NFL who's on your shit list that you want to see do better, that actually played.
Oh, that actually played.
Yeah, I know
Mm,
you're gonna say Deshaun Watson. Yeah,
I was gonna say Deshaun. I was gonna say Deshaun Watson because I think it's got to be him. But um, I'll tell you what. I am. Here's what I need. I need to see more out of the New England Patriots offense. I'm gonna say that offensive scheme. What they did against the Bills, great. Duplicate it. Duplicate it. Because I'll tell you what, that team has done nothing but been a headache and a thorn in the side of every New England Patriots fan. Defense, well coached. Bill Belichick, defensive minded coach. Um, Mac
Bill
Jones,
Belichick just signed a contract
he
extension.
did. He did. I like Mac Jones. I don't think he's a great quarterback by any means. I don't think anybody's going to fucking put him up there with like, oh my god, he's the next Tom Brady, right? But he's a good quarterback. He seems like a likable kid. I want him to succeed, but I got to see more out of him consistently on a week to week basis.
So Mac
What
Jones.
they saw, Mac Jones, what they saw out of him last week, that's exactly what they need out of him. He would have been on my shit list if he had continued to play the way he's been playing. I love the rebound for him. He did exactly what he needed to do. So I'm going to say Mac Jones. Mac Jones is a guy who he's on that verge of being a guy who's like someone we just talk about in passing when we talk about old New England Patriots quarterbacks. This is his shot. He needs to fix it.
Agreed. Agreed. My shit list is gonna be a 1A, 1B. I'm calling on Josh Allen and Brock Purdy.
Yep.
Uh, Josh, you've been there. You know how to play the damn game. I think you just know what to do. You just need to get it together, man. It's still early on in the season for you to turn this thing around, or you can let it burn to the ground. It's your option. And Brock, you're still young, uh, dude. Just you got to settle down. You got to make those right reads. Those are going to be my two shit lists. Who do you think was your star player of the weekend?
Who I was most. I mean, I'm going to be a little bit biased here, but I got to go Lamar Jackson, right? I mean, everybody wants to talk about. I'm
Boo.
sorry, but everybody wants to talk shit on my boy Stephen A. Smith last week after the game said, "Are the Ravens getting enough uh, out of the value of Lamar Jackson over what they paid him?" He said, "No, no way in hell." Right then, Lamar Jackson goes in, has this phenomenal game, four touchdowns, three through the air, one on the ground, no interceptions, phenomenal game against the Lions, and he has the gall to say on his show. Of course, the Ravens are getting their value out of Lamar Jackson. I don't know where this notion of them not getting the value come from, motherfucker. You. I'm so sick and tired of people being so like you're either with them or you're against them. And I'll tell you what, Lamar Jackson shut a lot of people up, and he had statistically the best game out of any quarterback this weekend, without a doubt. I guess a 5-1, really good Lions team. He didn't do it against a scrub team. That's a good team.
It's a good team.
How about you, Beef? Who we got? Who's the top dog for
Uh,
you?
my 1A, 1B.
Ooh, we're going 1A, 1B. All right.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that every week. It's just this week is hard. Uh, 1A, obviously Jordan Addison stepping up. Justin Jefferson is going to be out for 6 weeks. I'd like to see how he's going to do in the next upcoming weeks if he can carry on with that.
Okay.
No, and 1B, got to go down to the fucking pits. Got to go down to the mud pit where the hog mollies play. Taking my boy Ronnie Stanley with that block that Lamar Jackson was behind him. He took that. I don't even know if that dude was a DB or a safety. He drug his ass to the end zone. That was one
Legend
hell of a
has it.
block.
Legend has it. He's still blocking him to this day.
With that Ravens game, we also got to see the blind side in real life.
Yeah, not
Um,
that fake ass one.
Super proud of that guy. Super proud of that guy. That was a great block. Uh, that was pancake of the week, as you might have seen on my TikTok. Shout out to
I
the
saw it. It was beautiful.
at the griddle.
At the griddle,
Um,
baby.
but those are going to be my two players.
They're good. They're good. I'll tell you what. I'll as much as I hate to do it, I'll throw Mister Swift in there, and by that I
Mr.
mean
Swift.
Travis Kelsey. Uh, 12
Oh, was
catches,
it DeAndre?
100. No, not no. Travis Kelsey, Taylor Swift's husband.
I know. I know.
Yeah, 12 catches, 180 yards, a touchdown. I don't know how teams constantly let this guy get open. He is without a doubt one of the best to ever play the position. That team finally got their shit together. We're talking about how they were struggling offensively. I just don't know how they constantly people just can't cover Travis Kelsey. I don't know how they do it, but he played phenomenal. He deserves his props as much as I hate seeing his girlfriend on television. But I
Yeah,
guess I'll just shake it off.
give that man his flowers.
Say flowers. But all right, everybody. I appreciate everybody stopping by. As always, we'll be back with the Week 8 preview on Thursday. We're going to talk a little bit power rankings. We're going to talk a little bit of game preview. We're going to talk about a little bit of trade talks as these things start to unravel. So if
Bring
you
in the
didn't catch
hottest NFL drama straight from the griddle.
straight from the griddle, and hopefully you guys don't ruffle any feathers. I'll catch you Thursday. See you.